Alright, for making one of these dishes, we just start out with, this is a bowl blank of core out of one of the bigger bowls I did. We put a tenon on the back. We can go ahead and clamp that into the jaws of the chuck. Make sure we get it in there good and tight. Then I'll bring the tool rest around, and I'll use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and start on the face. Now you'll notice I am tapering that face a little bit up, toning it up towards the top. And we don't need to worry about the center because we're going to take that out. Now we'll come around and do the back side. Alright, we'll just start right in there with our bowl gouge. And I will go as close down to the chuck as I can. About in there. Now we can turn our gouge up like this and use the bottom lip here as a scraper coming out to kind of smooth that out a little bit. A lot of times I like to take the gouge and just barely take the edge off of that corner. This corner will be so sharp that it'll actually cut you if you happen to touch it with a finger, so just barely taking the edge off kind of helps. So I'm pretty happy with the bottom of that. Now let's go around to the front again. Alright, we'll reset our tool rest. And here we're going to worry more about just the center and getting our depth. I'm pretty happy with the depth I'm at there. We can back drag that bowl gouge a little bit and take part of that out. Then is what we're going to go to is just our small scraper again. Now this scraper is going to be used really in here. We're trying to get down in behind this lip. And it's going to really try to jerk it out. Make sure your tool rest is out here far enough that you're still on the tool rest. And then just take little bits at a time. Get your tool rest in just as close as you can. And like I say, little bites. Don't try to take a whole bunch at once. And we're just going to take that out until we're happy with the thickness. Now we want to come in and start in the center and try to level that out. Roll that scraper right on around, trying to make all that as smooth as possible inside. And if we're happy with that, we've got a pretty good cut going under there. I'm not really as deep as what I'd like to be, so let's go a little bit deeper. That feels pretty good in there. I don't worry so much about my thickness and stuff as long as I've got a nice hollow space going inside. Now let's use the skew and put a few beads on that. Alright, with a good sharp skew, we'll just come in and kind of roll back that way. We'll roll around to the inside. We can use it as a scraper to get that bead. Now let's put kind of a wide bead. So we'll come back here with our skew, and let's come clear out to here. And again, we can use that skew as a scraper. We can get the point of that skew right down in there, see, and make a nice point there. Come back in there. Then let's come with a couple smaller beads. And let's get one more out here. And here, I normally like to go ahead and just cut that whole edge off and roll it around, making that whole edge kind of rounded. Bring it back in. And there we go. Now we can go in and do a little bit of sanding on that. You want to make sure to kind of get your paper down in those little crevices and stuff. Round all that out. Get the back side. Go to a little bit plainer grit. Let's go ahead and put a little finish on what we've got done here. Getting the back side also. And a lot of times is what I'll do for these crevices. You can turn it by hand. A lot of times I will turn the lathe down to a nice slow speed, and then I can go ahead and just work in those. Kind of fold the paper towel up so that I can get it shoved down into the crevices good and kind of force it in there. And there we have the front side all done. We can take that out of the chuck. Alright, for taking the back off, we're going to use the cold jaws. As you can see, the standard pins are long enough to catch this. We'll tighten it in. Now here you can't go real tight enough to crush the vessel, but you need to go tight enough to keep it in. We'll bring our tool rest up. And then I use a 3/8 inch detail gouge, and with the flute just a little bit tilted but not much, we'll just come in and we'll start taking that tenon off. And here we just need to go in slow and easy. And at this point I'm trying to get this flat across here. Okay, now I've got it flat and I'm happy with my outside rim here. So now I need to cut in and start dishing this bottom out. Now here's where you'll want to think about how much of a bottom you left in that. Then I like to just use a skew, and I usually go in and put in 3 rings about like that. Back with a little sandpaper. Sand that off. And then most of the time my cloth still has enough finish in it that I can finish that bottom off. And as you're doing all this, make sure you don't get your fingers up here in these. And we should be able to take that out. There's our finished bottom. We've got some nice beads on the top. And there is our vessel, undercut. Use it for a little bit of anything.